Hey everyone, and welcome to our Q&A presented by Just Love. My name is Paula Jane, and I'm talking to Judy Carroll. Judy is an internationally known author and now has 5 books in the Zeta series. Hi Judy.
Hi Paula, hi everyone.
So a couple of episodes back, Judy's grade teacher Maris spoke on the transitioning of the Queen. Since then, our friend and colleague Lisa has listened to an interview posted online dealing with the same event. This interview included information that was claimed to have been channeled from Queen Elizabeth, confirming a lot of what Maris said, that the passing of the Queen is an evolutionary marker point. And in this interview, they went on to say that the monarchy was created to hold up the ascension timeline. They also brought up information being put out that the Queen actually passed 2 to 3 years ago, and that we've had an actor or substitute holding that space. So, Judy, what has Maris said about all of this?
Okay, before I start, he wants me to say that information in this interview is correct up to a point, but a lot has been taken at 4D rather than 5D level. So, the message from Maris. The Queen's passing 2 or 3 years ago has been misinterpreted. What really happened was that she went through a shift in her conscious awareness. It was a walk-in, but as was my experience or Judy's experience in 1983, it was more of her higher self stepping into the physical container. The ascension timeline has not been held up. It is proceeding as it needs to. And so much has happened over those 2 to 3 years that needed to happen as part of the shift.
So in other words, everything is happening as it is meant to. Some of the things that Maris has addressed is in response to the claim that Queen Elizabeth has been paying her karmic debt during this time and is now coming through as pure light and love. It's the announcement that shifted the timeline and is an evolutionary marker. The announcement of her passing is the end of the Black Hat Guard. The White Hats did the announcement of her passing. The whole purpose of the monarchy was to hold up the ascension timeline, as it truly is the inversion of our divinity of God's original blueprint. It was like a virus. Now that has been removed, everyone has a much greater flow with that awakening. There isn't the filter over their own personal sovereignty.
Okay, to repeat, nothing has been held up. Everything is happening at the right time. Such 4D messages endow the controllers with too much power. The Queen's passing, the announcement of this, and the people's loving reaction to the whole event has certainly brought about a timely shift and an evolutionary marker. This has also provided a testing choice for humanity, whether to react in love or fear. As for a virus being removed, the monarchy cannot be compared with a virus, as it has been an ongoing learning experience and test for all involved. In the greater reality, there are no mistakes and no accidents. This test, carried out in a flash of time over centuries, is now over because of the way people reacted, many more in a positive rather than in a negative way. For those who resent and feel anger at the concept of royalty, it is important to remember that humans of Earth have evolved from primates. In many animal species, there is a hierarchy with an alpha male and or female that rules the pack or herd. This is just a natural part of evolution that will be overcome as animal human becomes cosmic human.
Okay, so continuing with some other claims that Maris has addressed. So this one is, the Queen was paying her penance for the crimes against humanity that she was complicit in, and she was happy to pay her penance for that. It is very important to understand that there were forces above her that forced her to play out that role that she played. We're talking here about the reptilians or controllers. They were pulling her strings, and that she accepts that and takes responsibility for that.
And Maris said, the Queen has not been complicit in crimes in this life, but yes, she has had major karma from past royal and anarchy lives in which crimes were committed. Lives in which the reptilian aspect worked in a negative way. It has tried again this time, but she was generally able to block it. She was not, however, able to block the disinformation put out about her. Reports that the Queen has been seen taking part in dark rituals in hidden chambers beneath the palace are based on controller trickery, using drugs and holographic imagery to falsely portray her. We are not saying that such things do not occur, but people have been misled in this. The controller agenda is to shock and destabilise humanity, to cause people to lose heart that such a prominent and loved leader would stoop to such depths of evil. There are lies within lies within lies. So much disinformation and trickery to confuse and cause hurt and distrust, just as we, the Greys, have been portrayed by the controllers as evil aliens who gain sustenance from the blood of humans and who are planning to invade the earth. If anything, alternative media sources are even worse than mainstream on this.
So Maris also comments on the solar flash. The solar flash is mentioned in the interview, and many people are sourcing information on it. This is what some are saying. The consciousness of humanity has now shifted. COVID brought so much awareness into the planetary consciousness that prior to COVID, we had the sense that Earth was locked down into quarantine on an energetic level because of duality, the out-of-control duality. So there was a seal around the Earth putting us in a separate bubble and kept into place by the consciousness of humanity. But because of COVID, so much light came into people's consciousness that has now neutralized the seal. The seal is no more, and this is connected to the solar flash event. The seal was holding back the imminent flash. The flash is now coming, an evolutionary marker. The announcement of the Queen's passing is the evolutionary marker. It means there's going to be a shift, and there's going to be a lot about the solar flash. Tell the community to start preparing for the solar flash. Have a grounded breath process. Also important to surround yourself with grounding crystals, grounding plants, anything to keep you grounded. Really essential to harness the energies. This is where the magic happens.
And Mara said, the so-called flash is not a future event. It is happening now. Yes, the COVID has awakened many, but again, it's been a love or fear test for humanity. It has been a pre-birth choice by many to enable them to step out of physicality for a time. Some because they are not ready yet for 5D consciousness, and others because they felt that they could help the shift more from the other side. It has been a free will choice for all involved.
So then Maris commented on the following statement. It is really important now that the awake community has compassion and forgiveness towards Queen Elizabeth, as the more we have anger and resentment, the more it's putting that energy into the field. And because we are so close to the flash event, it's important for the light workers to practice Ho'opono towards her.
Mara said, for those who are truly awakened light workers, there should not be anger and resentment. They should be aware that, in the greater reality, there are no accidents. The planetary controllers have their own tests and karma to work through. The other point to understand is Earth plane humanity is very polarised. So many people here think in terms of black and white with no shades of grey, and please excuse our pun. Some of the reptilian controllers have learnt better ways. Being who they are as a much older Earth human species, they still tend towards a sense of entitlement and privilege, but they too look upon Mother Earth as their home and are sickened by the environmental disasters wrought upon her by the younger human species. This can be seen in the new King, Charles. On a deeper level of their being, and being who they are in the eyes of many humans who look up to them, they have the chance to be major influences for change. This is all part of divine timing and the planetary shift. Again, we say it will not happen with a sudden flash of light. This is 4D as opposed to 5D thinking.
Okay, then the interview goes on to say, the grief that has been triggered can only be compared to what happened when Diana passed. Everyone in the awake community has laughed at all those people in grief, but they are coming from the heart and sending out love codes into the grid, and that is what is dissolving the seal over the planet, and is a great thing it's a great thing that they are doing that.
And Maris, to repeat, for those who are supposed to be awake, their understanding should be deeper. To laugh or mock a younger soul in grief is not how a truly awake being reacts.
Yeah. And here is what some are saying regarding this solar flash. All this light coming into the planet, this pink light coming in, is a consciousness. It speaks to you. Everyone is going to feel it. Everyone is going to be exposed, no matter whether you are in 3D, 4D or 5D. This event is coming. Don't be laughing at all these people who are grieving. It's love. It's love that is the force of divinity, not intellectual sophistication. That is not going to take us to the new earth. It's just pure love, service to others. So it doesn't matter what level of consciousness you are. If you are that love, you are good. It's those who are inclined to service of self who are going to have repercussions that they have orchestrated from their own higher selves to wake them up. Everything returns to love.
Well said. Intellectual sophistication can be a major block, as it is born out of ego. Thus they create their own reality and karma accordingly.
So this is now on the equinox gateway, which we have just experienced. Queen Elizabeth spoke through a channel saying that this is deeply connected to the energies of this particular gateway. The announcement of her passing, her funeral, all divinely orchestrated because of the numerology and astrology. The astrological influences in all of this was in 2019 with the major conjunctions of Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto, which really ignited humanity, the dark night of the soul of humanity, to go into this transformational process.
You're not kidding, and no wonder Helene, Lisa and I had that experience up on the ship at the end of 2019 of meeting and greeting all those Earth folks who were planning on passing over and who were brought on board. It really was like a super busy airport terminal.
So then the interview goes on to say they, meaning the controllers, weaponized this transformational process because they understood the occult, the planetary alignment. They wanted to invert it by causing this fear of death, by closing our capacity to speak, by masking us, creating all the censorship when really it was a time of speaking truth and doing the opposite, being able to face death head on and go through the transformational process that a caterpillar goes through. Death, rebirth, alchemy process that the death initiation takes us into. They wanted to invert it into the fear of disease, COVID or pandemic stuff, to the point of separation, masking, 6 feet apart, be locked in your home. The inverted expression of the planetary energies of the lower octaves of the planetary systems. The higher octaves that we can embrace, the ascension timeline, is about gaining self-mastery, stepping into sovereignty, going through the initiation of the Plutonic energy of birthing the new Earth, with Pluto and Capricorn tearing down the old structures. And as Pluto moves into Aquarius, the resurrection of the elemental kingdoms on the organic ascension timeline. This also means no mask, speaking the truth, the breath of life of the Holy Mother, the Goddess, the Mother of the Ark, that is breathing through all of us and purifying through the mitochondrial DNA of the ether, the earth, air, fire, water, elements, and the nucleic acids of our DNA to upgrade us to higher organic union and higher harmonic universes to enable us to be the ascended divine human.
The negative, or should I say energetically imbalanced group referred to as they, in inverted commas, have weaponised the transformational process, but this has been going on for millennia, with the religious dogma of hellfire, judgment and damnation causing humans to fear the perfectly natural process of so-called death. This is nothing new, but at least people are slowly waking up.
Slowly. So then Lisa inserted her own comment here, saying that basically they've captured the good intent of people and inverted it with false movements via social media, entertainment and mainstream media.
Yes, all media has done this, not just mainstream. Disinformation to cause fear has been put out from both sides. Think of all the disinformation on alternative media sources on our people, the Greys. This is why it's so important to not link in too deeply with any media. This is where 5D discrimination is vitally important, to be able to read the person's aura, which never lies.
So the interview then went on to say that royalty is not about hierarchy, but rather about being connected to Mother Earth and being connected to the King and Queen in our own selves and our own divine blueprint. We can all rise in this way so that instead of looking to a president or leader, we will no longer be peasants, but rather we will all learn to look within for our own guidance. People can also be mourning their attachment to the old paradigm and belief systems, the human ego that got addicted to the old matrix. Time to be the divine human, letting go of the lesser than delusion.
Yes, this will happen when humans of Earth shift from animal human to cosmic human. While they are still evolving, the hierarchy of the animal kingdom still holds them in its grip. The key for now is to create a benevolent hierarchy that truly does hold the people's best interests at heart. Because people create their own reality with their thought processes and mind focus, this is what needs to be understood. There is nothing to mourn. Attachment to the old paradigm is simply part of the natural evolutionary process. Earth is a school planet. In the lower grades of primary school, so a certain level of hierarchy is needed, as children need guidance. Earth humans in general can only access up to 3D, so that is the form that guidance needs to take. Some teachers are better suited to their role than others because of their own state of evolutionary and consciousness. In the evolutionary process of Earth plane humanity, many lessons have been learnt, tests have been passed or failed, and karma has been balanced or not. All is in the perfect place at the perfect time. It's now time for humanity to step up to high school level, in which they begin to awaken to their own inner guidance. Teachers will still be needed, but because of people's own blossoming inner guidance, these teachers will be expected to be less hierarchical and more attuned to the students to allow them more freedom. This expectation on the part of humanity will create a different, less dualistic and polarised reality.
Lisa then went on putting more questions to Maris to gain more clarity. So this is Lisa. So in relation to Maris's message, I wanted to gain some clarity with some things he brought forward. One of those being dependency and neediness. From my understanding, Earth humans have always been disempowered due to those who created them in the first place by tampering with the DNA. From my parenting perspective, children are needy and dependent if you enable it. Therefore, the controllers ensured that this dependency and neediness was maintained throughout the millennia for the majority of the masses. So, Maris, do you think Earth humans will still need the dependency as a stepping stone until they are more fully awake to their own sovereignty?
And Maris answered, as I've said, Maris is hanging around both of us. Go away, Maris. As I've said, humanity will grow past the need for hierarchy as they evolve from animal to cosmic human. Earth humans are at the very first rung of the human ladder, not that long evolved from the animal kingdom. In fact, if you look at the bestial behaviour of some, they have not evolved very far at all. This is partly because they were interfered with on the DNA level by some of their creators, but it is also just a natural tendency in the animal kingdom with their herd instinct and survival of the fittest. They need time to grow out of this stage of development. So yes, stepping stones are still needed.
Okay, so Lisa then went on. The controllers have always known that they have to continue to invert the energy of expansion and growth to maintain subservience. In these current times, the majority down here have no awareness of such manipulation to such a depth that has taken place. When there is disclosure of the corruption that has overshadowed and penetrated all industries and the dark goings on that have been in the shadows of the monarchy, what will that do to the head of those who wholeheartedly loved the Queen? What will that do to the love energy that is building momentum to the shift? It seems that their paradigm will be shattered, creating a wave of anger and resentment to the manipulation, entitlement and privilege and lack of any trust. The monarchy represented an idea, an ideal that was presented in the false narrative as for the people, almost along the lines of all for one for all. Yet there was an inversion of that ideal that also made it unrealistic, unattainable to the masses and created separation whilst maintaining adoration. Would you say that is a perfect example of duality?
In some ways, yes, but Earth is a polarised planet. A major factor in human evolution is to grow past this, but because humans create their own reality, this has been a choice they have made. Evolution happens through the free will choice between love and fear. But for many, fear would be the result of not having a figure to look up to. And both choices have to be presented. The controllers have had a task to carry out to provide the other side of the equation, so to speak.
So this is Lisa again asking and commenting. It seems that to be able to move beyond these feelings will require forgiveness on a scale never seen before, and the challenge will be to unite in this stage of expansion and growth. Is forgiveness a major stepping stone creating momentum in the shift, and is forgiveness a universal understanding? For those anchored mostly in 3D thinking, letting go of anger and resentment seems easy to say, but to be able to do this and be at peace, doesn't it first require understanding to the truths of the deceptions? Human nature tends to want answers first to help with understanding, to eventually move beyond the heaviness of anger and resentment. How do we help humanity move beyond this and perceive it from the bigger picture?
Okay, forgiveness is definitely a universal understanding, and amnesty is the answer. So yes, it is most necessary for people to forgive. For them to be able to do this, they do need deeper understanding. At the same time, and this is where problems are occurring, the ones putting out about how wrong everything has been and how evil the royals and others in control are themselves failing to take into account the fact that these controllers are facing their own cosmic tests. Those who have treated humanity in a way that goes against cosmic law will reap their own karma. Everything balances out in the end, and cosmic law is way more far-reaching than earth plane law. There have been major lessons and tests faced on both sides, and much karma sown. Our work down here as off-planet teachers is to set an example by practicing amnesty ourselves, and by helping humanity to do this. It also involves helping Earth humans pass the biggest fear that they face, the fear of death, and also providing them with deeper understanding on subjects such as reincarnation and karma, what God really is, and the fact that we create our own reality through the way we think. So therefore, learning to think in a positive rather than negative way is super important. Deeper understanding on the yin-yang balance aspect of evolution is a major part of this understanding. This is the reason why we have the triangle as our symbol.
Wow. So this interchange has certainly raised some interesting points for further discussion, and Lisa has posed more questions for Maras to answer, which we'll be dealing with over the next few weeks. So just a reminder to everybody, Judy's books are available from Amazon, or you can go through Judy's website. The first book in the Zeta series is
Human by Day, Zeta by Night, followed by the Zeta Message, then Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, Lessons in History, and my two most recent books, both Kindle editions and both also available in German, An Interview with an Alien, Comments by an Undercover ET, and Cosmic Spirituality, Blending Religion and Science in Oneness from an Off-Planet Perspective.
Thanks, Jude. Thanks, Maras. And thanks, Lisa. And thanks, everyone, for listening. And if you like this video, please share with your family and friends and subscribe to this channel. Sending you all much love, and bye for now.